All right, now comes the fun part. We've got our bear's face. He's stuffed. His arms and legs are all stuffed. Keep in mind when you're stuffing that these are not pork chops. They're not mutton legs, so you don't want to make them very, very stiff. You want to be, they're soft and delightful and appealing, so you don't want to put too much stuffing in them. And now we're going to attach the arms and legs and make them jointed. So you want to find your buttons. Make sure you have all four. You also want to find your patterns. On the front of your bear pattern, I put in where your joints are, and that's what you want to find. So we're going to line this up against the side of the bear. Line up the ears, line up the body. You will notice that your bear has a shape. It has some shoulders, right here, right here. That's about where these are on his shoulders. So you want to line up the dots and get your marker. You want the bear, you want the attachments to be just behind this seam, not to the front of the body. Otherwise he'll be pigeon-toed. So you want it to be just behind the seam. So I'm going to find my joint. Here it goes. And I'm going to find that, and I'm going to put a little dot right behind. You can see it's right there. Right where it was going to land. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I've lined up my pattern, put the bottom near the bottom, and that's where my joint goes. So I find that, and then I go underneath and put my second joint. And do that for the other side as well. All right, now we're ready to put the joints on the bear. We've got all of our arms and legs dotted where they should be, where our joints will be. We've got our bear with a dot where his joint will be. I'm going to use my dull needle, and I'm using the blue embroidery thread because it matches my bear. You can use black, you can use whatever color you like. So I'm going to go in next to the dot, not right on the dot. The dot is really the middle of where you want to be. If you didn't quite get your dots lined up with your pattern, that's okay. Get it as close as you can. Get the needle as close to even as you can. Make it kind of level. And pull it through, but not all the way. We want a little tail. Maybe about 3-4 inches is plenty. All right. Then we're going to go through the leg quite close to the dot, but not right in the middle of the dot. The middle of the dot is really where you want your button to land. Okay. Let me get our button, and we're going to go in through one side and back out through the other side. So what I've done is I've threaded this button. Then it's going to go in next to the dot, not right on the dot, and out next to the dot, not right on the dot. Okay, and you can see what the button looks like. And then I'm going to go back into the bear next to the dot that I made, not next to the exit that I had. I don't want to pull it through. And then I'm going to come out very close to it as well. And then I can pull this tight. Okay? Now when you're pulling this tight, you don't want to yank it so that the bear becomes pinched, and you don't want to pinch the leg either. You just want it tight enough so that when you move the leg, it stays where you put it. It's all right if it's a little loose right now because we haven't finished. All right, so now I'm going to put the other leg on, and I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to go into my leg near the dot that I made and out near the dot that I made. Get my button, thread it and thread it again. And then back into the leg near that dot. And through, coming out near the dot. All right, so now we have another leg done. Now we want to attach this leg to the body. So I'm going to put my needle in near this dot and bring it out in the middle of the seam next to it. This will give it a little stability. Tangled up on me there. I'm going to pull it taut and get both pieces. All right, thread, behave. So as I pull these tight, tension pretty well holds it. You want to tie them both, you want to pull them both tightly, not too tightly, you don't want to tear the bear. But there we are, his legs are not pinched, but they're holding him up. But now we want to get rid of these threads. Okay, so now we have our bear legs on, and you can see they're nice and sturdy. They hold him up. They're not going to flop down. They stay where I put them. They're just tight enough. And now we want to get rid of these tails. So lie him down so he's comfortable. And we're going to take both ends and just tie a little knot. And I usually put in 2 or 3 knots just to make sure it stays. Okay, we still have our tails. So you're going to thread both of these tails onto your doll needle. Okay, once you have both of your tails onto your doll needle, you're going to put the needle into the body of the bear, just below the leg, and then bring it out again in the shoulder seam or even in the back of the bear at the seam. If I'm going to do a lot of pushing of threads out through the back of my bear, I usually do it at the neck because if I give him a bow tie or a piece of clothing, that covers any threads that are left over. Okay, now you can pull your threads off your needle. And if you pull them taut and cut quite close to the bear, they'll disappear. They bounce back into the body of the bear, and that's how you have your legs. And so now let's thread our needle again and do the arms. All right, so now we're going to put our arms on, and then we'll be almost finished with our bear. So I'm going to take my needle, thread it again with my embroidery thread, and I'm going to put it in near the dot that I made at his shoulders, and come out near the dot I made on the other side. Again, you want to kind of look at it a little bit and make sure that your needle is even. You don't want one arm up near his ears. Pull it most of the way through, leave yourself a little tail. Take your arm and put your needle right near where that dot is. Come out the same way. Button. If your button has a pattern on it, make sure the pattern stays on top. I go back in near where my hole is. Come out near where it is on the other side. Okay. And then I'm going to go back through the body, same way. Sometimes you have to do a lot of stabbing before you find the right place. That's all right. Let's make sure that we've got it on there straight. And there we are. Okay. And do the same with the other arm. Near the hole, near the hole. Button. Through again. Then let me go back in near where I came out before. Come out near where I went in before. And pull that through. And now we need to attach this arm. So we're going to go back in near our hole and come out in the seam on the side of the bear. Right there. Okay. And then we can pull them both tight. Again, you don't want it so tight that it pinches the bear. You want it tight enough so that the limbs stay where you put them, but not so tight that they pinch. You can pull on each one to tighten each arm as much as you like. Okay. And then we tie our knot again. It's hidden under the arm. Again, 2 or 3 times is plenty. Okay, and now we're going to thread our doll needle again with both ends of the tail so that we can get rid of that. So now I've got my doll needle threaded with both ends of my tail. I'm going to go back in under the arm as close as I can get into the body. And then I'm going to come out through the neck. Pull it taut. Snip. And there we are. One mini bear.